So this week we have decided to go to the Ren Fair. The Ren Fair used to be like a really big deal for me. When we lived in Arizona, the Phoenix Ren Fair is like massive. And honestly, it's one of the biggest cultural things that you can do in Arizona. And so we kind of made a point of going every year. Um, then when we moved from Arizona to Colorado, um, we did 1 year in Colorado and we went to the Ren Fair there, which was also really fun. The difference between the Ren Fair in Arizona and the Ren Fair in Colorado is the one in Colorado is in the trees. Arizona, you have to kind of suspend a little bit of belief because it is in the middle of the desert. While it is still awesome and it's huge and it has like a really big draw and a really big community, it is in the middle of the desert. But the one in Colorado is in a forested area, and it makes it really nice and cool and fun to experience in a forest. So we spent a year in Colorado, and we went to the Ren Fair there. And then when we moved to Washington, we also went to the Ren Fair in Washington. It was much smaller. They didn't have an established like place. It was mostly tents and things. And so it was really kind of fun and quaint to do something that was a little bit more intimate of a Ren Fair there in Washington. And then we had kids and we just didn't really go because in Washington, since the Ren Fair wasn't as big and didn't have as much of a community about it, it wasn't worth dragging children out to. Um, After Washington, we have moved to Texas and we have been in Texas for a couple of years now. And every year I keep seeing advertisements for the Ren Fair and not getting the chance to go. Our kids are getting old enough, they're actually really interested in the Ren Fair at this point. So it is worth trying to go, and we decided to make it happen this year. I put it on the calendar weeks and weeks before we ended up deciding we were going to go. I even had the audacity to think I would have the time to make a corset, which I have not had the time. I've been so busy working on all of my cosplay competition piece things that I just have not had time to make a corset. I'm hoping at the end of this year, when things start to quiet down during the holidays, that I will have time to make a corset then to get ready for next year. And hopefully I will get to do that. Um, but I did take some time to make myself so a cool little shoulder armor piece. It didn't include any stitching and it was really quick to just rivet together. And so I added that to some of the stuff that I already had on hand in my normal everyday wardrobe in order to be ready to go to the Ren Fair this year. And I'm really hoping that I can keep going. I really do enjoy the Ren Fair. It's kind of like getting to go to a con, but like a little bit more mundane. I don't feel like I have to get as prepared to go for it. It's a little bit more fun, a little bit more free form, um, and organic. And it's also something I go do with my family. Like we take our kids and I go with my husband. And while he's not big into going to cons, he will go to the Ren Fair. So it's something that we do as a family as opposed to something that I go and do as a personal hobby. Um, so I'm really hoping we can continue to do this year after year. Um, but let's get ready to go to the Ren Fair. So I am going to the Ren Fair in 2 days, and I decided this morning I needed something cool to go with my outfit. So I have some scrap leather. I've already made straps. I've got this chain, and we're gonna do like a shoulder armor piece. I know I don't have a shoulder on my dress form, but these straps are going to be adjustable, so I'll be able to fit it over my shoulder. However, it does fit the peak of my shoulder, so I really think that that's all that matters. But I'm gonna I'm gonna make this shoulder piece in the next 2 days because I'm crazy. It's all stuff that I already have sitting around the house. I am thinking I might, because I already have this chain down here, I might put like drape chains kind of like in between these two like layers of leather. I think that'll be pretty freaking sick. Anyway, I'm gonna go work on that now. I guess I'll come back with an update later. So this might just work out. I think I need to pull it down a little bit farther in the back, but hey, I've made a thing. I mean, it's pretty cool. I gotta set, none of these are set. They're kind of just hanging out here. So I gotta go set these in place. I gotta fit the rivets into these spots. And what? 2-3 hours worth of work, and I've got a cool little accessory to wear to the Ren Fair this weekend. All right, time for a fit check. This is my base layer. I like to put these underneath a lot of what I would call my alternative looks, or I personally like to call them my adventurer style clothes. I generally will wear these articles of clothing, maybe not all at the same time, because I feel like it's a little bit much and it gets costumey. But I like to wear what I call adventure style, where I look like I could go on some kind of fantasy adventure at the drop of a hat. So these are, for the most part, articles of clothing that came from my daily wardrobe. I like to put these kind of like tight bodycon shirts underneath everything so that we're not worrying about spillage or mostly because of sun, honestly. In Texas, it's insane. It's very hot. It's very sunny, and I do not need to get sunburnt all the time. I have very sensitive skin, and actually early this week, I got a little burnt just here where my sleeve came up and my sunscreen didn't go as high as my sleeve came up, and so I got a bit burnt up here earlier this week. So making sure that I have coverage is really important, which is also why I did not do makeup around most of my face. I really only did an eye look so that I can apply sunscreen throughout the day, because I am not gonna get burnt again. That is very important at Ren fairs. I have been burnt at Ren fairs in the past, and I am gonna try to avoid that today, but that's beside the point. This is a base layer shirt. I get off like a lot of earth toned base layer bodycon shirts. I just went and bought like a bunch of the same shirt to go underneath my more interesting clothes. Next, I have these leggings. These leggings are really awesome. They are by ALO, ALO on Amazon. I have had them for 5 or 6 years now. Absolutely love them. I love that they are more than just like a yoga pant, right? So when I go out and I don't feel like dressing up, I don't feel as casual. They have some really cool pin tuck details here and here, and then we have like these little breathing vents. They're actually called motorcycle leggings, which I really love. They have kind of an armory feel to them, so I really like that. Next, I thrifted this lace shirt. That will be my next layer. This lace shirt I found at a thrift store. It's marked as Maurice. I don't know. I really like it. It goes really well under a lot of my outfits. It kind of dresses it up, gives it a little bit more interest. My following layer will be this corset. I got it from my corset story. And that will go over the top of the lace. And then this is another thrifted item. It is just like a black vest that I like to put over the top of all of that. And now we're going to get into our more Ren Fair themed things. I think I'm going to wear my sword that I use for my Urza costume from Fairy Tale. I'll wear that. It has its own belt. And then I have this belt, which I have the pouches that I talked about previously that I made all the way back in December, or I guess November. So I have this kind of like scrunchy pouch, this one that has like a journal and note, like pencil in it. And then this one I bought at a con like 4 or 5 years ago, and it's just a little wand pouch. I may or may not take it. Doesn't really fit the vibe, but we'll see. So that's on my second belt. Then this is actually my everyday purse. It is a thigh bag. It goes around my waist with this strap, and then this strap goes around my thigh. And I usually keep all of my personal belongings in here. I'm going to put sunscreen in here. I'm going to put my phone and my wallet in here. And it's a really great bag that I just really wear around all the time throughout the year anyway. It's really convenient so that I don't have to have something on my shoulder or try to like remember to pick up the things I left behind. It will always be on me. So yeah, this is actually my everyday wear bag, but it looks pretty cool. Then is my shoulder armor piece. I think I'm going to wear it over the top of the vest with all the straps even on the outside of the vest. So we'll put that on. And then I have a few pieces of jewelry that also are everyday wear. These are some leather cuffs that I wear pretty regularly. I'm going to go asymmetrical with the earrings because that's kind of my vibe. I like a little asymmetry, especially when I'm going with something alternative in nature. So I'm going to wear this probably in my right ear. And then I have some little elf ear cuffs. I don't have elf ears, but I do wear wire wrap jewelry a lot. Some of it I make, some of it I've bought. It's stuck. Hold up a sec. So this will go on my left ear. And then lastly, we have this necklace. It is by 1928. I got it probably like 15 years ago, I do have a habit of holding on to every last piece of jewelry I've ever owned. Um, it's kind of small, but it fits the vibe because I am kind of going a little bit weary with the rest of this. Um, so I think it fits. So we're going to get this on and then I'll show you the finished fit. Okay, I had to turn it tall because, you know, you gotta be able to see the whole fit. But this is it. These are my shoes. I don't wear shoes in the house. I don't wear shoes in the house. So, but they're kind of cool. They fit the vibes. So those are my shoes. This is the fit. And I think we're ready to go to Ren Fair. So I want to just give like a quick little wrap up for our Renaissance Day before I get out of all of this makeup and stuff. So much fun. Pros and cons. Pros, it's a really great fair. Really enjoyed the Sherwood Ren Fair. It's the first time I've ever been to this particular fair. So it was really a great experience. It's smaller than the Phoenix Ren Fair, which is the one that I am a little bit more familiar with. And also, I really enjoyed the trees and the environment. That was a lot of fun too. The performances were great. I always enjoyed going to go see glass blowing, and I got to go do that. My family really enjoyed the Birds of Prey show and the intimate structure of that. A lot of Birds of Prey shows are more spread out, so they really enjoyed the intimacy of that stage. Things that I would say be aware of if you're going to go to this particular Ren Fair. Traffic is going to be crazy, probably around about an hour after opening to like 2 hours after opening. That's when most people are striving to get there. So we did have kind of a wait to just get into parking. And then another thing to be aware of is water. Water can be a little bit difficult and tricky to find and purchase on site. So either bring water or be prepared to like have a hard time finding it. One thing that I do want to say also is that be prepared with sunscreen. This is Texas. It's going to be hot. It's going to be sunny. Be prepared with that. Other than that, I think it was a really great experience, and I look forward to actually going back again next year.